this is Kate from dailytarotgirl.com, and this is my unboxing video for the Telezma Tarot by Cochrane. Now, this is an independent deck. It comes in a beautiful box with a magnetic flap. I'm going to put the link just below this video to where you can find out more about this deck if you want to purchase it. And it comes with a guidebook. So let's take a little look at the guidebook first. All right. So the guidebook has kind of the typical info you would expect in a guidebook, some basic info, and then some meanings for each of the cards. Oh, and I like how it's point form. I don't know if I've ever seen that before. I like that. Nice. All right. So let's have a look at the cards. So the card stock, the card size is actually quite good. This is just an extra card, I believe. Yeah, these first two are extra cards. So the backs of the cards look like this. Very colorful, very trippy. And the card size is pretty good. It's bigger than your average tarot deck. I'd say it's kind of more of like an oracle card deck size in some ways. Quite large cards. And the cardstock is very high quality, very thick, very sturdy. The edges are gilded in a shiny gold. And the finish is a really nice quality matte finish that feels really nice. So this will be a long-lasting deck even if you're really rough with your cards. I think this one's gonna hold up. So I'm just gonna slowly move through this deck. And I'm gonna show you each card so you get kind of a sense of what this deck is like. Actually, it's quite heavy, so I'm gonna break it up into two piles. So this is a collage deck, and it's super colorful and just a really trippy, wild kind of deck. I like the High Priestess here. There's a lot going on. As we move through the deck, you'll notice there's like a lot going on in these cards, and it can be really fun just to explore each card and look at all the crazy details. I like the cosmic backgrounds in a lot of the cards with the stars. Ooh, this is an interesting one. A lot of these feel very dreamlike, like something out of one of my dreams. This one looks like something out of a nightmare I might have. See what I mean? This is so interesting. There's like a trailer park here, motorbikes, an old TV. So I think Fortune and Force, this is, Fortune would be Wheel of Fortune. And then Force is Strength, because Justice and Strength are reversed in this deck. Some decks are like that. A little black cat and a snake. So I think art is temperance. I think that's what's going on here. Some of the cards have been renamed. This one's wild. Okay, so we're into the suit of wands here. And I'll do a sort of a sample reading with these cards once I'm done going through them, so you get to kind of see the cards in action and see how they read. Okay, so we're into the core cards. So Princess of Wands instead of the Page. So we have Princess, Knight of Wands. Okay, now we're into the Suit of Cups. And I love this. I love the stars in the background. It's really cool. So in some ways I can see these cards, in some ways that they do follow some of the traditional symbolism and imagery of the Rider-Waite deck, and in a lot of cases they're wildly different. It's like its own, this really is its own deck in its own right. So yeah, so in some ways this might be hard for beginners, but it's such an image and symbolism rich deck that I think it's going to be a lot of fun to read with. Ooh, I like this one. Kitty cat. Looks like Lana Del Rey. I think it might be. I'm not sure whose head's in her lap though. Okay, I can't wait to do my reading with this deck. Let's see what comes up. This is an interesting one. I feel like every card is really interesting and kind of begs to be contemplated for a little bit. 6 of coins, 7 of coins. We're almost at the end here. beautiful. And last one's King of Coins. All right. And here's all the major arcana cards together. So I thought I would show you kind of what it all the majors look like when they're laid out like this. All right, so now I'm just going to give this deck a shuffle, and when I get a new deck, I always like to interview my deck and ask it questions about itself. So the first question I'm going to ask this deck is, what kind of a deck are you? I'm drawn to this card. All right. 8 of Swords. Okay. Now this is actually a very powerful card. I noticed it as I was going through, I'm like, ooh, that snake is like really wild. It's really standing out to me. All right, so 8 of Swords. Now, I can't help but think of the traditional meaning of the 8 of Swords. And 8 of Swords, sometimes it represents feeling stuck. And whenever it comes up in readings for people, I let people know that you feel stuck, and your job right now is to unstuck yourself, to get unstuck, but don't wait for someone else to show up and do it. Sometimes we're our own worst enemies in keeping ourselves stuck, and sometimes we unwittingly and unknowingly hold the key to freeing ourselves and getting ourselves unstuck. But when I look at this card and I pay attention to the specific images, and just to go back to what I said, I feel like this deck is a deck that will help me get unstuck in my readings. Now, if you get this same deck and you ask it questions, you're going to get different cards, you're going to get different answers. But for me, this deck is telling me that this is the kind of deck I want to reach for when I'm trying to get unstuck, when I maybe want new ideas and new ways of setting myself free. Now, when I look at the imagery on this card, I'm immediately drawn to the snake and the weird design that's on its back. It looks like a V, kind of. It also kind of looks like a ram's head, like the horns, the chin, I don't know if you can see that as well. And of course, I'm also noticing the woman in the garters who's standing in front of the snake, or behind the snake. To me, the snake is a really powerful symbol. I mean, here it looks like it's sneaking up on this woman and it's going to bite her. But I actually also see the snake as a symbol of rebirth and, being able to shed your old skin. And it's a green snake too, so I feel like this is kind of a symbol of fertility and new life and something new. So I feel like this deck is going to help me reinvent myself in certain ways and get new ideas and break free. So the second question I'm going to ask my deck is, what kind of readings do you like to do the most? And the card I've chosen is Princess of Cups. All right. So the kinds of readings this deck likes to do is represented by the Princess of Cups, which would also be like the Page of Cups in a Rider-Waite deck. All right. This deck loves questions regarding creativity, also relationship issues, anything related to emotions and feelings. I think this deck will help me maybe not so much make sense of feelings or emotions, but it will help me process them and move through them and come up with creative ideas and solutions with how to deal with certain emotions and how to express myself. I also think of the Princess or the Page of Cups, it's about creative expression. So I think that this deck loves to do readings around that. Artistic expression, creative expression. I could see myself reaching for this deck if I was like working on a creative writing project or an art project, and I was maybe stuck and I needed to move forward, or I'm looking for new ideas to get unstuck. I could see myself reaching for this deck. Okay, let's draw one more card. So this next question I'm going to ask, and I'm just going to take down these two cards. The next question I'm going to ask is, what do you look for in a tarot reader? What does this deck look for in a tarot reader? Okay, cool. Ooh, another queen. Oh no, we didn't have a queen. It was a princess last time. Okay, Queen of Cups. Beautiful. Okay, so this is obvious to me. Look at the Queen of Cups. She's lying in bed. She has her old-fashioned antique phone that she's talking on. This is the kind of reader that this deck loves. The kind of reader who wants to have a conversation with the deck. And I love doing this with tarot cards. Like, it's almost like when you sit down to do a reading, you treat your tarot deck like it's your best friend and you have a conversation. It's not just a one-way thing. You have it's like a two-way back and forth sort of conversation with your deck. That's the kind of reader this deck looks for. And of course, the Queen of Cups is she's very in touch with her emotions. She's very empathetic and compassionate and intuitive. So those are all qualities this deck loves in a reader, someone who is intuitive. Queen of Cups is also a good listener. She's good at like holding a space and just kind of being present. And again, that's what this deck loves in a reader, is a reader who can hold the space for the reading and just be really present and can listen, can pick up on subtleties in the cards and messages in the cards. All right, so all in all, this is a really fun deck. And again, I can see myself using this deck with like creative projects and writing projects and things like that. It's very funky. It's one of the more unique decks that I have. Very bright, very colorful. The cards are very busy, like there's lots going on. They're colorful, they're bright. There's a lot of, different symbols and things happening. So I think that this is this wouldn't necessarily be the deck that I would use if I was like really overwhelmed or stressed out, but it would be the kind of deck where I'm like, okay, I need new ideas, I need inspiration, I need some fun, creative advice. This is the kind of deck that I would definitely reach for. So this is the Telezma Tarot, and it's by Tara Cochrane. And I will put the link to where you can find out more about this deck, where you can purchase, just in the box below this video. So thank you so much for watching. My name is Kate. I'm from dailytarotgirl.com, and feel free to subscribe to my channel. I post unboxing videos every now and then, and leave me a comment. Let me know what you thought of this deck. So thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful rest of your day.